They hate Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. I actually liked her when she first got elected. When she won the primary, I made a video talking about how I agree with like more than half of her positions: campaign finance reform, private prison reform, things like this. I'm like, okay, I can get behind these things. I'm okay with that. Even to an extent, I was arguing like maybe universal health care is, I'm more in favor of the public option. I've sort of softened on that issue. I am no longer, not at all. I really, 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 really do not like her at this point, and the Democrats don't like her. They want to get rid of her, and we're looking at this is really crazy actually. First of all, I can't stress this enough. I talk about it all the time. She didn't win the way you'd expect her to win. She did what's called primarying. Okay, she's talked about this. They find a district that's guaranteed to be Democrat, and they upset in a primary. She got like 15,000 votes, and she won. Democrats are threatening to do the same thing to her. They want to get rid of her. She just put out the Green New Deal's insane. It's seriously insane. It's just a socialist manifesto that makes no sense. But now we have possibly the craziest strategy. I laughed. I seriously started busting out laughing when I saw this from The Intercept. New York Democrats could eliminate Ocasio-Cortez's district after 2020. They figured out a way to get rid of her. Eliminate her district. Wow. I'm assuming maybe they'll split it up. I don't know, but this is really interesting. Let's read The Intercept. I think The Intercept likes her, but we'll read it. They say Cortez is prepared for the possibility that Democrats in New York could redraw her district after the 2020 election. She told The Intercept in an interview. Following the 2020 census, every state will draw new district boundaries to reflect changes in the population, the political implications of which will stretch for at least the next decade. In 2014, New York approved a constitutional amendment establishing a nonpartisan redistricting commission, which is set to take over the redistricting process starting in 2020. The 10-member commission, meant to be independent from the legislature, is made up of individuals selected by leaders from the state Senate and Assembly, and the original 8 members pick 2 additional members. But Ocasio-Cortez's most determined adversaries are not partisan Republicans, but Democrats, who say that she has been a disruptive influence. The Hill recently reported that at least one member of Congress has been urging New York party leaders to recruit a Democratic primary challenger to Ocasio-Cortez. But the news led to a surge of donations to Ocasio-Cortez, suggesting that a more efficient means of ousting her might be simply to eliminate her district. But here's the thing. She's become a superstar. Millions of followers. I think she could potentially run for, this is tough. She's got so much influence that when it comes to a primary, she might just win. The reason she beat Joe Crowley, which effectively made her a congressperson, even she was saying it. This is what's really, in my opinion, it's kind of terrifying. After the primary, she said, I've been elected. No. You won a primary. That means you've won the nomination from your party. You haven't been elected to anything. But they knew her district was so overwhelmingly blue, there's no way she could lose. In fact, I don't even think she really had any opponents. So getting rid of her district could certainly be one way to go about it. But she's got, 2.6 million Twitter followers now? So if they try to primary her, that's what it's called, where they put up a primary challenge, she's got way too much influence. People in her district will probably show up in droves because she's a celebrity at this point. They'll vote for her just because they heard her name. It doesn't matter what party she's on at this point. In fact, if in 2020 she could leave the Democratic Party and run for probably any third party and still potentially beat any other congressperson because she's that famous. But here's the thing. I'm not entirely sure she could win, though. I want to say her celebrity will provide for her. But she's so far left, putting out these ridiculous bills that sound insane. She might get some activists, but I think regular people are probably going, what? What are you proposing? This is nuts. Now, I will say, activists in the media are certainly propping her up, putting out favorable pieces clipped out of context and things like that. Conservatives are doing the opposite, but all doesn't make her more famous. But let's read on. The 29-year-old congressperson noted that it's generally expected that New York will likely lose a seat, despite the city itself growing at a consistent pace. I don't know if that means that all of our districts are going to be redrawn dramatically because they have been historically gerrymandered, or what will happen, but there's certainly a possibility, if not a guarantee, that my district in the coming years will not look like my district today. So I think it's entirely possible, and New York politics being what it is, we have no idea where things are going to go, and I have to wonder what that would mean. She's still going to live in New York. She's still going to be in a congressional district. They can't just erase her. But if they get rid of her district and then merge it with, like, say, 2 others, it gets bigger or something like that, there may be a different incumbent. She may be challenging another Democrat. But I have to imagine she'd still win against another Democrat. Do you agree? I don't understand how they could just get rid of her by doing this. New York politics are famously insular, with a tight circle controlling major decision-making for years. That began to shift in 2018, not just with Ocasio-Cortez's victory, but also wins from a number of insurgent candidates against Democrats who had caucused with Republicans in the state Senate. Ocasio-Cortez, during a podcast interview with The Intercept, was joined by former North Carolina Rep. Brad Miller, who earned his former status as a result of statewide redistricting that eliminated his seat in 2012. The 2010 Tea Party wave handed control of the legislature to Republicans who drew him out of the district. He decided not to run for re-election. So Cortez could simply run for re-election. I'm assuming she's going to run for re-election no matter what. So he told The Intercept that his work on the House Financial Services Committee, taking on powerful banks, probably played a role in the redistricting. And Republicans, it turned out, did not value my service. And they divided my district 6 different ways, and there was no one piece that was really recognizably the old district. And also, it was true on the Democratic side, he said, noting that his own party leaders weren't thrilled with his work in a state dominated by financial interests such as Bank of America. These are reasons why I initially liked Cortez. I don't like the fact that massive banks and corporations have the ability to influence our politics to such a degree that you can literally remove a politician through redistricting. So when Cortez comes in and says campaign finance reform is important, I say, absolutely, I'm listening. And then she goes and introduces insane socialist policy that can't be implemented, that wants to eventually weed out air travel. Like, wait, hold on. What? No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to support that. So who then do I? The question after is, who then do I vote for? But I gotta say, I can't imagine even conservatives would disagree with this. I think that's why one of the reasons Trump won. He's a populist. When you point out massive, Trump was on the stage talking about how special interests in the wealthy were controlling people, and he pointed out how he donated to all these other Republican candidates so they'd give him favors. People liked that. I think we're all in agreement. We need to do something about this overarching political power wielded by people who are too wealthy, or corporations, and special interests, and foreign governments. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean I'm going to support Cortez. I'm sorry. I think redistricting her, I don't understand how that works. That's just me, I guess. I don't believe that's right. But I do believe she needs to be challenged. I also believe she may still win. I mean, I don't know, but let's read on. Miller, however, did not have Ocasio-Cortez's national profile, suggesting that the lesson may be that if you're going to be a problem for party bosses, it's better to be a huge problem than a medium-sized irritation. Indeed, Ocasio-Cortez could just run and probably win in any nearby New York City district the party may try to draw for her. She noted that when it comes to future redistricting, she's in a unique situation because her name recognition is so strong that even when I won my primary in New York, we won like a third ballot, a third-party primary in a different congressional district the same day. And that was in November 2018, before an endless media cycle that has been all Ocasio-Cortez all the time, including this video from me, which only boosts her name recognition. But I gotta say, though, Cynthia Nixon, who was running as a progressive for the governorship in New York, lost. By a decent amount, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but Cuomo won as a more moderate. I'm not sure she could win on a larger scale. The only reason she won, in my opinion, is because she had support from progressive activists, and moderate Democrats, the politically uninitiated, just didn't really care to come out and vote, except when it came to the general election. So in the primary, she was able to sweep. I don't know if she could win a primary because you have very energized activists who will come out in huge numbers. You don't have that for your moderate Democrat voter. So it's likely that, even though Democrats want more moderate policy, they probably don't want it enough to come out and vote in a primary or to know about the primary in the first place, and that served her really well. Another reason not to target Ocasio-Cortez would be Chuck Schumer. The Democratic Senate Minority Leader and major player in New York politics is up for re-election in 2022. The commission redrawing the lines may be technically independent, but Schumer's power is no secret. If Ocasio-Cortez were gerrymandered out of the House, she'd need something new to do, and primarying Schumer would be an obvious option on the table. I don't think she'd win Senate. Like I was just saying, I don't think she can win on that big of a scale. The story's a bit longer, but let's just wrap up here because I got a plane. So far, an effort to primary Ocasio-Cortez, however, isn't going well. The Daily Caller followed up on the article in The Hill and spoke to New York Democratic consultant Hank Scheinkopf, who said 3 names were being floated around as potential challengers to Cortez: Jimmy Van Bramer, Julia Salazar, and Catalina Cruz. The Daily Caller is trash. 1. I would never primary AOC, even if I lived in her district, which I do not. I have no intentions of ever running for Congress. Who on earth calls Jimmy Van Bramer James? Salazar tweeted. Van Bramer tweeted, "This whole thing is crazy. I'm kind of loving having AOC as my Congress member. I'm not taking her on. I'm backing her up." Yeah, well, she's putting out increasingly insane things. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to have another video. I guess that's it. I'm going to be on a plane, but normal scheduling resumes tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all. I'll see you all next time.